It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Hello to all. Welcome to Divas That Care Network. I am Joyce Benning, and I will be your host for this totally magical show on this robust lifestyles. And I just want to take a moment and thank each one of our listeners that have tuned in live today and the ones that will be listening to the recording on the podcast. I am so very grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. And as I said, you are all in for one magical show today because I have with me my incredible returning diva, Sandra Mendelson, and her and I are going to talk about joy and comfort. Oh my, is this ever going to be an exciting show? So Sandra, could you please introduce yourself to our listeners today?
Yes, I'd be happy to. Hi there. It's not what I am, but what I do is easier to talk about. What I do is I am an animal communicator, so I work with clients one-on-one with their pets, and I'm sure most of you have heard about animal communication and the problems it can solve and the pathways it can forge in terms of deeper understanding between humans and non-humans. And I also am a channel of animal consciousness. And this part is really fun to talk about because, wow, it's now 12 years, 11 to 12 years of doing this, where I started getting really, really deep messages and having conversations with now over 100 different species. And these are information and wisdom and insights for everyone, from those who are not stuck in the human condition. And so Joyce and I talked about what, after I looked back over 12 years worth of channeling, what was, if I could sum up one recurrent, all-important theme, and that animals want us to understand, this is what they want to give us, and this is what they want us to get, and it is joy. It may sound really simple, but we are so busy that Joyce and I are now going to talk about how to get to joy, and also to comfort for those of you who have a hard time feeling joy, with good reason. Joy, I just love saying your name. Joyce, I keep calling you Joy because my experience of you, Joyce, is that you are pure joy. And it's like I leave off the last two letters of your name, probably because of the topic of the show today. So forgive me for that. I know your name.
It's okay. I love it. I love the joy part of it, too, because that's, like I told you right before the show, it reminds me so much of my dad because that's what he said. That's why he named me Joyce, because I was his bundle of joy. So joy has a real place in my heart in all ways, and it did from the very moment I was brought into this world. So I love it.
Well, you've done him proud. You have totally lived up to your name. Every time I listen to your show, no matter who you're interviewing, you have a way to bring out the best in people, and it's always a feel good. So I'm just thanking you for all those other shows that I get to listen to.
Oh, thank you so much for all your kind words. Oh man, my heart is going like, wow, I love it.
Well,
thank you.
No, it's true. It's really funny because I was like, okay, well, what was the first animals that talked to me about joy were horses, because my whole experience began with horses. So just a couple of things that I wanted, sometimes it helps to just hear these things again. So a horse named Honeybee has said to me way back when, take time to play games, especially in nature. Children are great helpers with this. Walk in the water, okay, maybe not in the winter. Sing a song, dance, giggle. These are all things that are good for you and everything around you. It isn't hard or complicated. It's the process of decomplicating things that brings joy. So I thought that was a good way to start, because sometimes, we just have the to-do list never gets done completely. And it seems like things are growing more complicated. So to simplify your life, I mean, elephants stepped in and they said, stop obsessing about dirt and perfect cleanliness. It is silly. And I thought that was a good thing to bring up because it's so easy to get distracted by the speckles of dirt on your kitchen floor, and you wonder why you're not joyous at the end of the day. It's because you never stop. So playing games, doing something harmless that makes you laugh, like making the time to, this is a panda suggestion, by the way. It said, forget being human and just be instead. Sit on your bum like we do. Build a sandcastle, play an instrument or cards, smile. So, I don't know, Joyce, maybe, you're busy with lots of things on a farm all day long. I don't know if you have the time to, sit on your bum and play an instrument, but why don't you tell me some of the ways that because you strike me as somebody that gets joy while in motion, because you're always in motion, it seems, with the animals. So I'd love to hear from your perspective.
Oh, well, and you just said it. I mean, I get joy in motion. I get joy this morning. I opened the door to let Minka, my little girl, out, and my little puppy, 6-month-old little red heeler girl. I call her my girl. And there was this most beautiful sunrise. And I'm like, oh, my word, look at all the colors. Look at all the joy that can bring into me. And when I talk about Minka, she came into my life in first part of August, and I've sold so many people. She has brought so much joy into my life. Because just her and I go on walks together while we're maybe watering cattle and the water's running, and we can do something and just play. I mean, just go down to where the creek is and be out in nature and just watch the fun that she's having. And it just brings joy to my soul. And I mean, even going out to the cattle, just seeing the peacefulness and tranquility of them laying around. It's just joy and how they come when you're ready to feed them. And each new baby calf, I said this on another show. I said, I have been involved with cattle all my life. And every single time a new baby calf comes into this world, I'm like, it's the first baby calf I've ever seen. I'm just like, I'm totally joyful that it is another new life that is coming to this world, and they just amaze me. So and the birds singing outside in the mornings, they just bring joy to you. It's just, to me, it's opening your heart and letting it listen to the joy that surrounds you in everything. So those are just a few examples.
Well, I want you to know you just crossed off my list what the pig told me, what the orangutan told me. But I'm gonna repeat what you said because it's so cool that the animals and a human like you can walk away with the same understanding. Okay, so both honeybee and a pig told me. The pig was so joyous. He goes, joy. I want to talk about joy. Joy is my senses. The feel of everything. I guess you could say I'm a very sensitive creature. Warm sun, cool mud, fragrant grass on my skin, the smell of hay, and the wind. I love the wind. It speaks to me and loves me. I love leaves at all stages and colors and the taste of food on my tongue. And flowers, jewelry gifts for us. If you only knew what these things feel like with our heightened senses, you would feel ecstasy. So humans have to take a little more time and work a little bit harder to tap into their less developed senses. It was a trade-off, I think, for your big brains. We want you humans to be happier. So we know rolling in the mud won't exactly do for you what it does for us. Although I hear you have mud wrestling and mud spa baths. What's up with that? You said you couldn't dislike mud that much. But if I could, I would give you joy as a gift. I would. Oh, yes, I would. So, yeah, the honeybee, the horse said, our senses are gateways to joy. And it's something as simple as closing your eyes when you're drinking coffee or hot cocoa, when you close off one sense, you really can heighten another and appreciate, like closing your eyes and just listening, or only focusing, like you said, on, it sounds like the orangutan, stopping in the middle of your day just to pick up a little bit of prettiness. Just stop no matter what you're doing. That is probably the one single easiest, quickest thing for anybody to do, to stop, because there's always beauty all around us, like you said. So, yeah, I was, this orangutan said, whatever you do, pause to see the prettiness in something or someone. It makes the to-dos go faster. Stop and look at the butterflies. They are magical creatures. Little bits of lightness, that's what you all need. The more you do this, the more the little bits of prettiness and light show up for you. You become a magnet, drawing them to you to sparkle up your day. So that's probably another reason, Joyce, why you see maybe more than other people do. The more you are that lightness, the more you attract it to you, and the more you see it. So, there's a little bit of manifesting going in there. You may not be aware of it, but you're doing it. Ta-da.
I love that. Pause to see the prettiness, because that's exactly what it is. And it only takes seconds. I mean, just like this morning, I could have just opened the door and let her out and never even really looked at the sky. It just it's like you said, it's a magnet. It attracts me. It's like, there it is. And the sunsets in the evening, and even in the darkness, just looking up at the sky and seeing all the stars, and just seeing how some are bigger than others and how they twinkle. And I'm like, oh my goodness, there's just so much joy just all around. If we I love that, pause to see the prettiness. And it will be you will feel it, is how I feel. And you have to open up your heart and shut down that real busy mind and say, those things will wait. I need to take this minute for myself, or these few seconds for myself, to see the prettiness that surrounds me.
Yeah. It makes me think very often of people who live in big cities, because I lived in Manhattan for 16 years. And you may not see the stars at night because there's too much congestion and fog, and you may not be able to hear the crickets the way you can and I can, Joyce. Or, there's certain elements of nature that may not be as readily available. But that's another reason why the animals keep saying, focus on the beauty in someone else. Look at the light in their eyes. Focus on their laugh or their smile, because no matter where you are, the beauty is in so many different forms that even if you don't have such access to nature, you still have the nature of your dogs and your cats and other beings, and how, beauty inside your home. Everything from picking out something you love to wear. It's that taking that one extra second to go, oh, that's beautiful. Including, looking in the mirror and seeing something that's beautiful in yourself. All of these things make for joy. I'd love to go back, because the elephants, for some reason, I guess I will be writing the elephant book, because they're always there. And I keep getting more and more. But one thing that a matriarch said, and she's a matriarch of the herd, and she kind of keeps everybody together and smooths everything out. And even all the humans that take care of her in South Africa know a lot of what she's doing. So she said, we can show you how to be joyful. We know a lot about it, and we have wonderful senses of humor. We could not be successful with our energy work if we were serious. But humans don't grasp this yet. The most successful outcomes come from a light approach. The lighter you are, the more light you create and attract. So we chatted for a while, and she said, joy doesn't have to look a certain way. Some jump up and down, and others are more internal. Their joy is a quiet simmer, not a rolling boil. Who is anyone to judge? And I appreciate that, because there are some people that are like, I don't jump up and down. No, you don't have to. And she said, finally, perhaps it will help humans to remember this. Sometimes joy is simply the absence of negativity, if you see it that way. We bout all that is stressful, and what remains is joy. So, like dolphins have said, joy is our basic nature. It was there first, before all the don'ts and do's and shoulds, accrued and gathered and became part of us. And they also say, joy is you experiencing your true nature. This is the kicker. Not another person or place or thing. Another person's love might make it easier to see yourself, but make no mistake about it. Joy is you experiencing you. And I thought that kind of, because you and I are talking about things to notice and things to feel, but it really does come down to joy doesn't ever require anybody or anything else. Like, you know what I mean? It might be set off. Mm-hmm. Our joy might be ignited by these beautiful things that we see. And I mean, we deserve that. But I guess I just want everybody to know it's something that the animals have been really clear about, that even when we are struggling, even when we don't feel joyous inside, it is the basic nature underneath all your adulthood, everything you've, learned to work through. Yeah.
Oh, that is so beautiful, because I love that. Joy is our basic nature. Look at a baby. Look how happy they can be. Like there's not a care in the world. They can have so much joy, and joy is you experiencing your true nature. And just look in the mirror, and you'll see the joy. I mean, that was so beautifully said, because that is, to me, that is so very true. That joy is you experience your true nature, and that's exactly what it is. It's these. Some of the other, everyone will probably experience, I know everyone will experience it in a different way, because joy to one is different than what joy to another is.
Absolutely.
And maybe a hot cup of cocoa or maybe your favorite cup of coffee brings you comfort and joy, because you're enjoying
I'm so glad you said that word, because, I'm not in this group, but there are many people I know that find this the most challenging time of the year. They have had losses and trauma during the holidays. Their family's gone, whatever it is. So, they're almost like, please don't talk to me about joy. Joy is something that I have been sold on television. But comfort, when they say comfort and joy in the same sentence, because even if you don't feel joy, you deserve to give yourself and to experience comfort. And comfort can sometimes be not doing something, to not push yourself to do something. That, so no one's saying, hey, it's, the holidays, especially it's the end of the year, go jump around and feel joy and celebrate being alive. But to focus on what will bring you comfort is, I think, equally critically important. People don't spend the time to think about what will make them feel better, and I'm not talking about things that will do them harm, right? But right. I mean, so I guess my question is, when you're having a tough day or a tough moment, what gives you, I'm thinking of this myself, what gives you comfort?
Well, and for me, it's easy to answer, because it's my animals and nature. That's what brings me comfort, and that brings me comfort, and that brings me joy. So, but for another person, it could be, like I said, that hot cup of cocoa or hot cup of coffee, or it might be a picture that brings them comfort of something, a mountain scene, or just a comfort of maybe having a picture of a loved one that has crossed over, or a beautiful Christmas memory. I mean, those can bring you comfort even in the hard times when, yes, you are missing their bodily form here on earth. But you have that beautiful memory to comfort your soul for the longing to have them back here on earth. So those are just some things that come to my mind when we talk about comfort and different ways people can experience comfort. I have a friend that said, I'm going to give myself a reading get a reading for someone to do for my horse for Christmas, because that is something I know I would enjoy. And I'm like, you're bringing yourself joy, and comfort too, because you'd like to know more about your horse, which will be comforting to both of you. So there's so many different aspects of finding joy and comfort, or maybe even just sending a text message to someone that keeps coming up in your mind. There's a reason they come up in your mind. Maybe they're needing a comforting word to bring a little bit of joy into their life. And when you bring that into their life, it comes right back into yours, is how I feel.
Yeah, I couldn't, it's funny, the more I'm listening to you, the more I'm like, wow, comfort and joy are so intertwined for me, because as you said, what brings me comfort brings me joy. At the same time, like I took a picture of a little mango tree tiny, that my doctor gave me. She's such a doll. And I put it in a huge pot because it will get sprayed if I plant it in the ground. So it's got 3 years to really grow in this pot. And when I took the picture of it and I looked at the photo, there was huge divine light coming right into that plant. Seeing divine light that I can't see with my eyes, but it shows up in my pictures, right? So knowing that comfort, that, wow, there's even in the moment that you're forgetting about it and you're not feeling connected to source or whatever, even though you always are, that brings me tremendous comfort, like fluffy socks on cold feet. brings me terrific comfort, doing something that gets rid of pain that you have all the time. Like you try something new like yoga and you're like, oh, it worked. To me, that's terrifically comforting. Yeah, I guess my comfort list is definitely not what I was raised to believe in. It's what I've gathered, from my experience of being human. And, it's interesting because animals are always so all is well, They don't question things. So it's not like they're seeking comfort. And again, I always make the exception. We're not talking about animals that have been deeply traumatized, and many of them have. Because that's a whole other story. We're not talking about animals that are trying to heal from trauma inflicted by the human experience, because that changes their true nature. So the joy may not be there, right? They may have odd behaviors and defenses, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about basic nature. Animals don't seek comfort. They don't have to get out of the prison of the mind and do a two-step translation to get to joy. So what they're basically saying is, look, underneath all the garbage and the armor, you function the way we do. You just have more to jettison and throw aside. Joyce, you and I were talking about this before. One of the most amazing things, I'll never forget this. It was months ago. I was at my mom's, and this toad hops towards me, and you could see that he had been hit by a car. His insides were, all coming out of his mouth. I did not take a picture of that. But he came closer to me and said, I'm leaving my body soon. You don't have to move it. It doesn't matter. To let go with grace and appreciation is all. He said, I leave you with this. Let go of your humanness so you can experience what we all wish for you. The most essential reason for being, the simplest thing of all. The wish that all non-humans have for you and what we are trying to give you. And that is to experience joy. It is the one thing in everything. We all feel it, but humans have cut themselves off from it. Joy is everywhere. It is in the rain, the sun, in the grass, and in the air itself. Joy is your basic state of being. And joy overrides physical pain. Do you see? See through my eyes a new beginning for yourselves. May humans realize that you are the greatest version of yourself when you are feeling joy and you are one with all. Right? You're not ego when you're in joy. So, we say, hey, being happy is a nice thing. Being joyful is a good thing. It also is it's the most single powerful presence that we can hold for those of us that care so much about what we put out into the world and the effect that our thoughts and actions have on those around us and those we can't see, right, energetically. that joy is the most healing, powerful thing we can hold. You know, people think of it as kind of hedonistic. Oh, yeah, I deserve to feel joy, whatever. So it's kind of flipping that perspective on it, dear, and realizing, you know, we care so much and the problems are so much bigger than any person can solve. But what we can do is, you know, what's good for ourselves is good for everybody. Hello. So, yeah.
Oh, Sandra, this has just been beautiful, and it seems like we just barely started chatting about joy and comfort, and the show is coming to an end. And I'm like, oh my, where did this go? It's just been too much. It's been so much joy that I've just had so much fun and enjoyed it, and I just loved it. So I must ask you, will you please return back to Robust Lifestyles so we can continue sharing with our listeners about joy and comfort, about so much more that the animals have to teach us. I would just love to have you back on in January of 2024.
Oh, my goodness, I would love to. I think people need it even more in January, right? Because the holidays are over, and now they're like, you know, in most of the country, it's really cold and it's dark. So I think talking about some uplifting things from the animals might be really good in January. Thank you.
Oh, I do too. I'd love it. And before we do close this show, would you please share with our listeners how they may connect with you? And you are an author, and how they may connect to find your books. Please.
Well, that's easy. I made a website for there's two websites, because one website is for the, I guess you could call them adult books, but that word has a bad connotation now. Let's just say for sort of larger children like us. You just go to WeWalkBesideYou.com. There are two books 1 and 2, and you can choose what interests you. That you don't have to read them in sequence. I see people just, you know, gravitating to what feels best for them. And then if you simply go to smendelson.com, I've also published 2 children's books written in rhyme, which were messages that the animals came through with specifically for children. So if you just go to smendelson.com, you can see my books there, and that's also kind of info central. So if anybody wants to get in touch with me for animal communication sessions or read channelings on the blog, there are many, well over 100 there. And I also have a Facebook page, 2 of them, whatever's easiest for you to remember. We Walk Beside You or Sandra Mendelson. I post channelings from animals all the time because, as you could well imagine, by the time you get your book out, you've already accumulated so much more stuff that there's always lots to share that, you know, you can't even get published. It's just too much. It moves too slowly in the human world, but we can speed that up. So, yes, it's kind of my pleasure to share all these things with everybody who loves animals and wants to know what their inner lives are about, because it's an ongoing discovery, and it's really cool.
Oh, yes, it is. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on Robust Lifestyle Show. It's been totally magical talking about joy and comfort with you, and you sharing what the animals have to bring to us. And I want to wish you absolutely magical days until we connect again here on Robust Lifestyles.
To you too. Happy everything. And happy holidays and New Year, and thank you. Thank you so much for this show.
Oh,
and thank you, Candace.
So very welcome. Yes. Thank you, Candace, definitely. And thanks back to you. Oh, this has been magical. And with that, I want to thank all of our listeners for listening to this absolutely magical show with our incredible diva, Sandra Mendelson. And you heard her. She will be back in January of 2024 to share more of her golden nuggets, channeling from the animals in the world. So please share this show with your family and friends. Check out all the other hosts and their shows on divasthatcare.com. And remember some of the golden nuggets she brought to us, that joy is our basic nature, and joy is for you experiencing your true nature. And I just love this line that she has posted on Facebook from a toad. When you feel joy, you are the greatest version of you, and you are one with all. And I leave you with that from this Joy and Comfort show. And remember, be kind to all and have a magical day. And one more thing, Candace Gish is the founder of Divas That Care, and she has an excellent book out called Podcast Journal, where you can keep track of all these wonderful podcasts that you watch on so many different platforms. You can make notes what it was about, where they are, and everything. So it is an incredible gift to yourself and to others. It will bring joy and comfort to each and every one, because now they have one centralized place to keep track of their podcasts. And you may find this on Amazon and Absolute Love Publishing. And with that, I want to wish each one a magical day. Remember, be kind to all, and especially give your animals a great big extra hug and share all your love with them, as they so deserve it. Until we connect again on Robust Lifestyles, stay strong and healthy.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.